Jill, Bart, hey, congratulations on Held.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jill, let's give you the first question. Where did the crazy idea came from for Held for yourself here?
I mean, I think it came from a couple of different places, but at the time I started writing it, I was working on the play Extremities in Los Angeles, and it is all about looking at this attempted rape and the aftermath of that, and kind of the different views of what justice and revenge look like. And so that was kind of the first way into this. And at the same time, the Me Too movement was happening. So I was thinking a lot about gender roles and what it is to be a woman in a room controlled by men, and all of those little microaggressions, things like smile more. And it's just all of that, I think, was where the first seeds of the script started.
Wow. And Bart, why were you attracted to something like this? This was a little bit different from the stuff I've seen you done before.
That's one reason. It's nice to be going in a different direction. I just thought the character, honestly, the main draw was the character. I just thought the character was very interesting. It's a conflict that I would never find myself in, but I understood it. And so I got to kind of dive deep, and I felt it was a real challenge to try to find a genuine, authentic conflict between caring about someone and making something happen. So it just felt rich and layered and interesting. And I really thought Jill did a terrific job of creating this character. Henry and his journey through this was super interesting to me.
Jill, did you specifically wrote the character for yourself in mind?
I did. I started out my career as an actor, and writing came second for me. So I absolutely wrote this with myself in mind, and infused Emma with a lot of my strengths and a lot of who I am as a person as well.
The one thing about this film for Held that I was fascinating is, the chemistry between you two. Could you talk about developing the chemistry? Because boy, did you folks need therapy.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because I think the first time we sat down to read through the script together, it just was working right away. I mean, everything was clicking, and we just kind of fell into these characters so easily. And Bart brought so much warmth and vulnerability and heart to Henry that I had been hoping for. But I think because of who Henry is, there's a risk that an actor wouldn't see that. And Bart brought all of that. And yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a dream working with him.
I felt the same. It's such a great opportunity as an actor to show up with your scene partner who wrote the script and has lived this character, and it means so much to her. I didn't need to worry about, is Jill going to be on her game, because she's living this, and it meant so much to her. She wrote it and created it and knows exactly the kind of emotions and depth she wants to go to. So when I show up, as long as I'm in the right emotional space, I know I could just be there with her, and she's gonna be there for me. And so we really could feel that on set. I think it was like, it's so great. It's so awesome to work with a writer who wrote this character for themselves. It's really, it was one of my favorite parts of doing this film.
Bart, how did you get in the headspace of your character? Because your character was quite different.
Yeah, it was a challenge, and that's the challenge that I was most interested in, because as a character, as an actor, you want to find genuine conflict, not one-dimensional character. So that's the thing I try to find when I approach something like this. Is like, I don't want to just be, one layer. I'm going to be this angry guy, or I really am going to be this dominant, like overly, whatever, toxic guy. I want to be a real human with real emotions, of someone I actually really care about. Like, I really care about Jill, and I want to, I love her, but at the same time, I'm committed to success, and I'm gonna make this work at any cost. So the willingness to go to a dark place seems, if I made that important enough, then it could justify a conflict departing from the nice, loving character that I think I genuinely am. And so if one objective is too strong, it's not going to work. So I had to go to a kind of a dark place to try to make this really dark objective, drawing me to motivate me to take these actions. And I don't know, it's the conflict that was difficult and challenging and what I found interesting.
Well, Bart, you certainly pulled that one off. That's for sure.
Thanks.
Jill, I understand this is your first feature film acting. Was it also your first writing film that you had?
So I had written, directed, produced, and acted in 2 short films prior to this. So that was where I got my start with writing. But this is my first feature script that I've written and gotten to act in. So to see the whole thing come together this way has just been beyond extraordinary.
That is terrific. Now, you have an interesting story to tell because you met the directors quite accidentally, which I find it interesting is because the directors are technically just living a few neighborhoods from me myself. I'm actually zooming from Fresno myself right now.
Oh my goodness.
Shot the whole movie there. I love Fresno.
We did. Yeah. We shot the movie here. Yeah. So I grew up in a little town called Reedley, which is right outside of Fresno. And my family lives in Fresno now. And my sister lives literally across the street and one house down from where Chris and Travis live. So I was up there just visiting her for the weekend, and my husband and I were out walking with our dog, and Travis, I think he was cleaning his garage that day, but he happened to be out in the front yard, and he waved us down because he thought we lived there. And we were like, oh no, we're just visiting from LA. And he's like, oh, like, what do you do in LA? And I was like, well, I'm an actress. And he's like, well, we make movies. And it was just complete happenstance. It turned out we went to the same high school. We had mutual friends. It was just one of those, like, I don't know, the million stars that had to align for that moment to happen and for us to meet that way is just, it felt like fate. It was absolutely like, okay, well, we have to work together because this is just too unusual of a circumstance.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it because I don't even know my next door neighbors, and yet I bump into those guys in town all the time. So, but for you, Bart, you also bumped into them in happenstance too to be brought onto this project, right?
I did. I don't know how you know that.
I just know these things.
Man, you're good. Gig. It's amazing. So, I was at Sundance a couple years ago and just happened to be talking to these guys, and they said they made The Gallows, and I said, oh, I love that movie. And so we hit it off, and we have I think we have very similar personalities. So we had lots of jokes and lots in common, and we just became friends. And then they had another project that they were looking at. And then when they decided that Jill's project would be the next important film for them and put that on the front burner, then they just randomly had called me and said, man, I just think you'd be a really interesting choice for this. We want to put you in a room with Jill and see how you guys do. So they kind of orchestrated the meeting between myself and Jill. We went to a theater, and just the two of us, and we read through the script, and we just instantly hit it off. Hit it off personally, sure, but on the script, wouldn't you say, Jill? Like the characters, the first time we read it together was like, this is working.
Yeah. From the very first time we read through the script together, everything just fell into place, and the dialogue was just clicking, and the moments were just so real and present, and we didn't have to rehearse. We just kind of fell right into these roles together.
And those are excellent stories. Well, to the both of you, congratulations for Held once again. And I don't know, the stars in the universe, everything all aligned for you guys for chance meetings. So Held was meant to be made by you guys, that's for sure.
Thanks, you so much.
Thank you.
Love that.
Next time. Bye now.
Thanks, Gig. Appreciate it.
Bye.